Hi there, and welcome to the Y Factor podcast.
Wait, sorry, what are we talking about?
The Y Factor podcast. It's where young elected politicians, or YEPs, share how they're making real changes across Europe.
All right, I'm in. Let's hear what the future sounds like.
Welcome to YEPs on the Ground, the podcast that brings young voices to the heart of Europe. Today, I'm with Pedro Pereira da Silva, a young elected politician from Vila Conde, a treasure in the north of Portugal. Pedro works with the EPP Political Group in the European Committee of the Regions. Pedro, thank you very much for being here with us. It is a pleasure to have you.
Thank you. The pleasure is all mine. Thanks for the invitation.
I'd like to ask you two quick questions in order to get to know you a little bit better. I'd like to know, what is your motto in life? Something that guides you inside and outside of politics.
Well, definitely to serve others and to improve myself. To serve others in the way to try to build a better world with more opportunities for the other people, the ones that I had and the ones that I didn't. And to improve myself intellectually and morally, because I think success and power is transitory, and it's only worthwhile if you can make a difference, in the world.
And I think it's really important as a politician as well. So I really like this motto. And could you tell us when did you first feel European?
Okay, that's an interesting one. I think it must have been in the kindergarten. So we had the Europe Day. And the school was all filled with the EU flags from the countries, the EU anthem, and each student had to make, a little research project from a country. And it was one of the best days in school. And I think that's where my European feeling started to root it.
It is as if you were born like this then.
Yeah, almost, I would say. I was lucky in that sense.
Very interesting. That's a great way to start. Thank you, Pedro. So now let's explore your practical work.
Okay.
Moving into the next section of the podcast, I'd like to ask you if you could tell us a little bit more about your political role at the local level and how it is connected to your role here at the European Committee of the Regions.
Okay, so in the last elections, I was a candidate for my parish council, the parish council of Vila, which is a small neighbor in the municipality of Vila Conde, as you've mentioned. It's in the Porto district. And I was one of the youngest political candidates in the country, and surely the youngest from my political party, which is from the EPP family. And, my parish is sociologically socialist. It's governed by the socialists from the last 45 years. And although I didn't win the elections, I came in second, and I managed to double the percentage of my political party. And with that, I became the leader of the opposition in the assembly. And with the work that I've been doing, I was selected in the last year for the Young Elected Politicians program in the European Committee of the Regions. And that's pretty much it.
And now, zooming out a bit, let's talk about the bigger picture. Because, in recent years, Europe has faced growing concerns over a crisis of democracy, marked by declining trust in institutions, for example, low electoral participation, and increasing polarization. While much of the attention often focuses on national politics, the health of our democracies also depends on what happens at the local level, as you said. So strengthening local democratic mechanisms, as well as clear institutional, political, legal frameworks are essential for safeguarding democracy. So in this context, I would like to know your point of view. And more specifically, what do you see as the biggest democratic deficits at the local level based on your experience?
I would say that it's the fact that municipalities and regions are some sort of poor relative of democracy and of politics. There's a lack of regulation regarding their function and their political rights. And there is a tendency, and it is surely the case in my country, to basically have a presidentialist system. The executive or the mayor is imbued with all of the electoral legitimacy, and that contributes at least to some sort of absence of political accountability to the local parliaments. And this is evident, for instance, in the lack of legal mechanisms, in the weakness of transparency, and the assemblies basically don't have enough ways to compel the disclosure of, for instance, important documents, strategies, or even to enforce answers, proper accountability. So this lack of regulation and this lack of legal mechanisms are the biggest deficit, I would say.
Yes, I agree with you. Building on what you said, what are the solutions? What practical tools can local governments implement to reinforce local democracy and restore citizens' trust in public life?
Well, I would say small but significant tools, I would say. For example, the mandatory public broadcast of the meetings, of all the meetings, but at least the assemblies, Also, the mandatory publication of the most important documents, budgets, financial reports, policy strategies. I think this basically helps to tackle, this perception we are used to hear about of, corruption or behind closed doors decision making. So I think these are small things, but it will make a big, very impactful impact. I also think that something could be explored, and it is in my country, but it's not really quietly handled, and it's the ability of citizens to participate in the meetings as well. So they could raise their problems, their concerns. Also, they could even make compliments as well. That's also something that I think local politicians need to hear about. And so I think this could be, some sort of universal right for all the local authorities in the European Union. So basically to be in some sort of treaty or in the local authorities charter, I think this could be a right to be implemented.
Great, thank you. And now, Pedro, moving into a next section of the episode, I'd like to ask you about a very innovative topic, and one that I know you are passionate about because we did some research, of course, and it is artificial intelligence. So do you believe AI-based technologies could become practical tools to reinforce democracy? And if yes, do you think this would be possible while safeguarding sensitive citizens' data?
Regarding AI, I have to say this, to start by saying this. Basically, AI is no longer the future, it is the present. It has been for a while, and there's no escaping it. So very directly, I think AI has its potential in the local governments. For instance, in the responses to the citizens' requests, let's say, for a public housing construction project, or for any other sort of requests, it could be more efficient rather than, those forms that are filled up by the public servants and that take usually a week or more to be published. So this is the potential, but I have to say that I think we're still living in a period of excitement towards this new invention, and we're not fully aware of what it represents. I think AI is not an invention like the radio or the printing press. We're talking about the first invention that truly has the capacity to replace the human work and basically challenge the whole anthropocentric order that we have been living in the last 500 years. And I would say that for me as a politician, there are more disadvantages than advantages, because we are witnessing the replacement of a politician's thinking, where he ends up just being a mere announcer of artificial texts, and he lacks basically the authenticity that it is demanded for a representative function, which is intrinsically human, basically. So, and to make a long story short, this is how I feel about AI.
Thank you, Pedro. This is a very, very strong point. And for my final question, it would be something more personal again. I would like to know if you would have any advice to give to young people who want to get involved in politics but feel either disconnected or discouraged or excluded by the current system?
So I think the world and history are not static. The planet Earth is about 4.5 billion years, if I'm not mistaken, and humanity is 200,000 years old. And these good times that we have been able to enjoy thanks to democracy and the liberal achievements, they are a rare and tiny part of our universal history. So more than ever, I think we must fight for what we believe in, whether to preserve the best that the system has, but also to change what's wrong with it. And so I have a message of courage and of awareness as well. And I would say that it's in the times of storm, in the stormy times, that a ship needs a crew with courage to face it. And this analogy is the one that I always use to motivate young people to go to politics and to face the struggles in it and to push for a better future. So I use this message as well for any of our viewers.
This is a very strong analogy. Thank you very much, Pedro, to hear your valuable insight and experience. And to our listeners, thank you for tuning in. If you'd like to learn more about Pedro's work, you'll find more information on the episode's description. Stay tuned for more conversation with inspiring young elected politicians. And don't forget to follow us on Instagram for more updates. Make sure to catch our next episode to see who will be the new host and who will be our next guest. Thank you very much. Thank you, Pedro.
Thanks. My pleasure.